I wanted to edit the ever-living shit out of this video with visual effects and a cheesy little skit, but I realized everyone's doing it already. So it will be a nice little detox and a fresh air of content. What's up, people? Cold here. Let's begin month by month so I don't run off the grids. July. The IDF Training Institute, also known as my college, invited all students to a mandatory 2-week workshop, ruining our holidays, to teach us basic English tenses. It happens, it's real. And you're not allowed to use your phone. However, you are allowed to use your laptop. So while all the goyams were in the front learning past tense, he did, she did, what I did, I was sitting in back with my laptop and I started coding a random game because I was bored. So, by coding, I made a simple game based on simple GUI elements. It was simple. You have these numbers, you hit multiply, all of them get multiplied. Next round, you have to score more. What could go wrong? If you try to increase the value of numbers, there's a chance that number destroys itself. Sounds easy? The guy on my left said, haha lol, let me try. He tried, he got, I don't know, maybe 5,000. And then the guy on my right said, haha lol, he passed me the laptop. I did. He scored 7,000 and then said, yeah, let me try it again. And then he reached 12,000 and she was like, wow, this is addictive. I need it on mobile. And I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I should work on this game a little more. So I cancelled my shitty fishing game horror project idea, a video on it coming soon. Subscribe. And I contacted a friend and said, hey, I said let's work on it, and we did. So we gave it a pretty little back. So we thought, hey, what will be the winning condition? At first we thought we should add a number stop. Yeah, like 1 million you win, 1 billion you win. You get the idea. And we realized, hey, that's just limiting the player. So, instead of that, we thought there should be 7 bosses in the game. Bosses which change the game rules to appeal to them. For example, this boss wants, instead of multiplying, will add all your numbers, and if it's not a prime number, it will be game over. But then I said, hey, you know what? Let's not do game over. Instead, let's give player a really good buff if they win and a really shitty debuff if they don't win. The boss, of course. So, now we had a structure. You play a few rounds, boss. If you win, you get a buff. If you not win, you get a debuff. And then we thought, hey, how can a buff be strong? In the sense, strong. And a buff can be strong when there are weaker buffs. How do player gets weaker buff? That was an idea. And then we added these, and then we thought, hey, you know what? Let's just have a proper map. A whole timeline, and this timeline will have events like buffs, debuffs, and then bosses. Then the goal of the game is to defeat the 7th boss. The last boss will always be a unique boss, in the sense like there's a whole pool of bosses which can come randomly and a different pool of special bosses. If you lose to them, game over. If you win them, you get a ultra mega rare S tier buff forever. And with that in mind, we came up with 15 debuffs, 15 buffs, and 7 bosses and 4 special bosses. I was very proud of myself, by the way. I thought, hey, game's ready. Let's put it on Steam. And then I thought, hey, you know what? Let me add one last mechanic. If you hold a card, it splits into 2. But that would be broken. So I added another event in the game. Splits. If there is a split in the game, you get 1 split. If you have 1 split, you can split a card. Pretty easy. We locked in a release date of August 29th and got to work. Now, August started and the game was looking kitty ditty. Where are the graphics? So I added this mountain and this little sun. Every next turn, the sun would move a little and become moon. Amazing, but it looks garbage. Also, game has no music. It has music. It's pirated Minecraft music, but it doesn't has music. So I asked a guy on Discord for music for free. He's my friend, so he gave it to me for free. And the music was okay, so I just added it to the game. And then I thought, hey, what if there was a setting to change the background for your liking? So I made 2 backgrounds and now you can switch between them. Amazing. The game should have more game modes. How can I add new game modes in the simplest way possible? So I added 3 game modes. Normal, the one without bosses, and the one without bosses and debuffs. It's called chill. And it was done. Yeah, I was ready to release the game. And then my sound designer called me. He said, hey, you have these menus for when a buff comes, when a debuff comes. I think you should make it adaptive. So he sent me these soundtracks and I thought, fuck, let's play them. His soundtrack was so good, I thought, you know what, I should make the game to its level. So I started working, changing backgrounds. Now they changed the game's rules too. I added 9 of them. 15 debuffs, 60 debuffs, 15 buffs, 60 buffs, 7 unique bosses, 14 bosses, 4 unique bosses. Yeah, there are still only 4 unique bosses because you would only fight 1 at the end of the game. And now the game's ready. Now I can release it. Hopefully no other indie game comes as... Yeah, I'm delaying the release by 15 more days. And in this time, I thought, hey, the background thing kinda shitty. Hey Gemini, can you improve? Oh shit. Gemini actually improved the background. AI might replace our jobs for real, by the way. It also gave me this funky ass animation, and that animation was like, hey, this is cool. I should add funky ass animation in the entire game. And I did. Look at this animation. Yeah. Main menu. Main menu was looking kind of plain. So I took inspiration from Wii U a bit and added this cool layout of the main menu with all 4 buttons on the side. And I was like, hey, there's 1 button here for stats. What should I add in all the corners? So I did what any other game dev would do. I added a wallpaper mode. That's right. You can use the game's graphics to make a wallpaper. And yeah, it works natively on desktop background and it's somehow more optimized than Wallpaper Engine. I don't know how that works. But anyways, I did it. And now the game's ready for release. Steam sent me this email. Hey sir, we are doing a Steam Fest. You wanna sign up? Well, the fuck I do. I have like 10 wish lists at this point. And then I started working on a demo. Now what content to remove from demo? I removed the normal mode, only bossless mode. I removed the chill mode. I removed a few buffs, and you have a demo ready. The demo did not work during the Steam Fest for 1 entire day, killing all my initial things. Because even though I tested it, I did not know how Steam's API worked, and the wrong build was live. That has never happened since, but I have also never recovered since. But even with that disaster, I landed up with around 150 wishlists. It's not 1,000, it's not 5,000, but at least I didn't pay it for marketing. And then I finally released the game with 250 wishlists on October 29th. And this guy sends me an email. Hey, the numbers are too big. Can we have the more game with no numbers going exponential? I was like, yeah, like what do you want? He said, you know what, instead of multiplying, what if they added? And I was like, okay, I'm going to add addition to the game. And I added adding to the game. I called it the additional update. Haha, funny. Now you have 2 ways to play the game. And yeah, that's about it. Game is complete, right? Then the sound designer said, you know what, the background should move. So I added moving backgrounds. The game's complete now. You know what, the buffs and debuffs do look a little shitty. So what I did was, in November, due to God's grace, also known as my father, I got this tablet. It's this Samsung big boy tablet. It comes with a pencil, and I used it to draw over 150 hand-drawn artworks for all the buffs and debuffs. I also draw this cute little girl to be the mascot. And that was the big art update. And now every single buff and debuff has art. I can finally rest. What do you mean my game has bugs? So yeah, for 2 entire weeks I was fixing a new game breaking bug every day, because turns out if you have 60 buffs and 60 debuffs, you will not have time to test all of them as a single developer, and somebody else will. Another bug was players were scoring way too fucking high, e to the power 500, and Python, the language I'm using to code the entire game, cannot handle it. So what I did was simple. If you score e to the power 120, your score sort of number will become an alphabet, and then that alphabet, and after alphabet the scoring starts again, and then if you reach E20 again, it becomes another. Now what's the alphabet? Spoilers alert, it's Fortiori. And what if you scored Fortiori? You try Fortiori again. It keeps happening, it's a loop. Now I haven't reached there, and I want you to reach there. But that's it, that was the update in December. And then I was like, hey, Christmas is here, let's add a little update. So I added an additional game mode. It's called presence mode. In this mode, a random number will be marked gifted, and numbers will be added to it randomly. Yay, that was the gift mode. That was the Christmas update. I'm done for the game, right? So New Year came around, new year, new me, and I thought Windows has been fucking terrible, and I uninstalled it, and I installed Linux. Cashy OS to be specific, because I'm not dumb unlike some people. And hey, I tried playing my own game on it, and you know what? My game crashed. That explains the 5 refunds. And so I started working on and I thought, hey, you know what? Proton is not working. Maybe I should just make a native Linux port. And then I had to learn about X11, SDS, what's the CPU core type, and after all this research and shift tweaking the code a bit and the build files, voila! After 3 weeks of work, my game's on Linux. And you know what? After I posted a trailer on Linux, they really liked my game and they really bought it. I sold 10 copies in 2 days. You know, I call it impressive because I could buy Starbucks finally. And then I thought I was done. My game's on 2 voices, now I'm done. And then some random guy on Discord pinged me and said, hey, you did 3 major games events with this one girl icon, why not put her in the game? And I thought, why would I put her in the game? And it said sex, and I thought, hey, okay, I will give the fans what they want. I hand drew the girl again in different poses, different expressions, and 8 unique artworks, and I added dating mode to Fortiori. How does it work? You try to risk the girl. If she's impressed, she'll offer you a game. You play the game on the map, she will give you a milestone. You hit the milestone, boom. It was kind of reminiscent to how initially the game was supposed to have milestones. Now it has in the dating mode, and they keep increasing. And depends on how you play and what choices you pick. There are 8 unique endings. By how you play, I also mean which maps you pick, because there's a set pattern for each different ending. And I now thought, hey, the game has dating, maybe I should add on something, and the idea was I added challenges game mode inspired by Balatro. The game now has 6 unique challenges. One of them is called you have to face all the bosses. Another is called you have to face if you have to survive 20 turns, each turn is a debuff. And yeah, similar to that, my game now has challenges. It has a compendium mode to see what you have unlocked, stats, wallpaper, dating mode, 9 unique playstyles, and over 150 plus in-game events. It's complete. I then thought, you know what? I should add language support to the game. So recently, today, like 5 hours ago, I added language support to my game. Which language is Hindi? Because I'm Indian. Japanese. Watashi wa Arjun desu ka? Oh, well, that's what's wrong. I cleared N5. I assure you, I've forgotten it. I cleared N5 1 year ago and I have forgotten it. And the last 3 languages were picked on the 3 most countries which bought my game, that is Germany, France, and Russian. Those were the 5 games I translated my game to. My proofreading source was AI. Yeah, don't look at me like that. I'm a solo game dev. And the game's ready. Hopefully, no more update to be done. I mean, I will update it if there's any bug found, but for now, yeah, it's ready. You know, it's been a wild journey thus far, and if you can just check out the game or wishlist it at best, or just try the demo, it'll be a really cool thing because I'm stuck on 5 positive reviews. I would like 5 more so I can at least end it off on a positive note. Okay, see ya.